Good morning. I'm
I'm
Logan.
Braydon. Oh, shoot. Start over.
Good morning. I'm Logan,
I'm Braydon.
and you're listening to the Pickleball Effect podcast.
So today we're talking about a new partnership that I have that I gave up a 35,000 check for. We got some paddle battle. We're going to talk about the MLP and PPA split, and then we're going to finish off with our in and out segment.
Ooh, I love it. Let's ride. All right, Braydon. So I have a fun one for you. You know, in pickleball, we got a couple of nice kind of like cheers and rah-rahs from the players. Are you team like Andiamo? Or are you team like, yeah, baby, from Rafa Hewitt? Which one are
From
you?
Rafa. I'd go Rafa. I feel like the Andiamo's kind of in your face a little bit, and that's not me. That's not my style. I don't like that. But Rafa just celebrates with the crowd. He's just happy about what he did. He's not in the face of the other team. And so I'm the Rafa. Which way you going?
I kind of am too, man. I wish I could tell you I'm the other way. I mean, I love Julian. It's kind of fun, but I
Yeah,
just love how
it's
he
good to have
doesn't.
those personalities.
Yeah, he doesn't do like the baby. It's like baby. It's like yeah, baby. So fun.
I've seen Rafa play a few times, and actually, I don't think I've ever heard him do that one.
He did it this. I guess maybe it was on Thursday. Was he playing Tyler Loong in singles? And he did it in that match, whatever the singles match was on Thursday. I think it was against Tyler
I
Loong.
love his little roundup thing he does, the
Let's
MLP
go.
stuff. So good. Yeah, I love Rafa.
Yeah, me too. All right, so tell us, 30K, big number. Turned it down. Give us the deal.
Yeah, dude. So I stopped doing retail. It's probably been over a month now since you started doing this podcast. What episode are we on? Like, is this
I don't know. We'll be on 7 now.
7? So this is like 7 weeks in a row. So since I stopped selling paddles, I wanted to set up a partnership with some retail brand to just kind of separate affiliate relationship with, maybe do some content, some different things around, and just start building things there. In addition to the partnerships I built with specific brands. But when I stopped doing the retail thing, I had a ton of leftover inventory. Actually, I had like $45,000 of inventory that I just needed to figure out something to do. So I was able to sell some of it, but I was left with about $35,000. And so when I was reaching out to these retail partners, part of my ask was, look, I want to work with you. I want to set up an affiliate relationship. We'll work together. I'll push traffic, to you with, different reviews and whatnot. And we, kind of work that out. But I was asking that they, took my inventory from me. And, it came down to two people. So I was talking to Pickleball Central and Fromuth Pickleball. So Pickleball Central, after chatting with them, they put together, like I don't know if you want to call it like a contract or like a partnership deal. And they agreed that they would take the inventory off my hands, which would have been a $35,000 check in my pocket if I accepted it.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of other, kind of stipulations, in this, this partnership that it wasn't going to work for me. So they wanted me to be very strict with what I was doing. All reviews pointing to them. Like I wasn't able to develop relationships with other brands or kind of do many things outside of working with them. And they offered an 8% discount for my followers. So that was kind of the deal with them. And they also, I mean, it's Pickleball Central, right? Like they're very popular. The conversion rate through them would probably be high, and they have a big reach, right? Like they just have a lot of emails, a lot of people shop there. And so the draw to them was, the big check would have been nice. I could have offloaded my inventory, which should have been big. And then just, potentially, reaching a whole new set of audience that I've never been able to reach before. Then I was talking to Fromuth. So Fromuth Pickleball is another retailer. They have a relationship with MLP, which turns out to be pretty big now, right? Which we'll talk more about later. But
Sure.
I think they're like the official partner or retail partner of MLP, which is cool. And they do a lot of their like apparel, merch and stuff. Yeah. So they have a cool relationship there. But so I was chatting with them. They were they offered like a 10% discount for my followers. So there was a bigger discount, which I thought, yeah, no, I thought that was big. They weren't able to just take off my inventory immediately. They could potentially do it over time, but they wouldn't be able to just to take it all right now. But they were a little more flexible with how we could work together. We have a lot of ideas on the table. I'm really excited about it. So obviously, I decided to go with Fromuth because I gave up a $35,000 check, which is no small number, at least for me. I know you make big bucks, so it may not be the same story for you. Yeah,
you say so.
35, nothing. That's nothing to Logan. But no, dude, I gave that up, and for a few reasons. One, like I wanted to give a bigger discount to my followers. Like that was important to me. I think one of the cool things about being a content creator and doing these reviews is giving people deals, right? Like a lot of people hand out these deals, but it's not only on paddles with Fromuth, like it's shoes, it's apparel, it's balls. Like there's a lot to pickleball. There's things you buy that's not paddle related.
Yeah.
And so like you can get 10% off balls every single time. Like you use my code, it's 10 effect. You just use it over and over and over. And shoes is a big one. I go through shoes like crazy. You can get 10% off all the shoes they have, like Adidas, Nike, like big brands. And even if they're having sales, like they have a lot of shoes on sale right now, you can go get 10% on top of the sales. And so this is like a great deal for the people that listen here, the followers, of getting the stuff they need for pickleball at a discounted price outside of paddles. Plus they carry a lot of paddles that I don't have, that I don't have direct relationships with. And so I'll be able to do reviews for like some brands that are kind of harder to review, like Head and Babble. They're just bigger companies, and it's hard to talk with them and get relationships built with them. And so since they're carrying those paddles, it'll be easier for me to review those types of brands, and I can just send people to get discounts at Fromuth that way. But no, and plus we're gonna do a lot of stuff outside of just paddle reviews. Like I want to do shoe reviews. I'm gonna start contributing to their blog. I'm gonna start potentially adding some articles and some paragraphs and some small reviews for the products on their product pages. So we're going to be a lot more than just an affiliate relationship, and I'm really excited about that. And so they're a really cool group. Really excited to work with them. Gave up a lot of money to work with them, but I think it's going to be beneficial for everyone listening here, which is fantastic. But I'm really excited to partner with these guys. It's a good group. I've met with them several times. They move fast, and I like that. Pickleball Central was a little slower to work with, and I wanted to be agile. I wanted to be not, and also just didn't want to feel like I was like working for somebody. Like this contract with Pickleball Central just kind of felt like they wanted like a video every month. And although I love doing this stuff and it's fun, and I put a lot of time towards this podcast and other content, but it's not my full-time job right now. Yeah. And so I didn't want to feel like I was working for somebody, and I still wanted to own Pickleball Effect, and I didn't want to be Pickleball Effect and maybe someone else. I just wanted a strong partnership, but I didn't want to be working for someone else. So I ended up going with Fromuth, gave up that money so you guys could save some money, and it'll be beneficial for everyone in the long run. So use the code 10effect at Fromuth Pickleball. They have tons of paddles, tons of gear. I mean, it's 10% off everything. I think the only exclusions is like Selkirk paddles, and then like some bigger ticket items like ball machines and some different court equipment. But for the most part, you just get 10% across the board. It never expires. And so this is a really cool deal. Really excited about it. I'll be sharing this often, and I think it's a big win for everyone. And hopefully, we can make up that 35,000 down the road.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean,
I can keep paying for Logan.
With the inventory at this point?
So I was, I'm still selling it kind of here and there on the side. I'm still talking with Fromuth, trying to potentially get a deal where they like buy portions over time, but they weren't able to just buy it right now like Pickleball Central was. So it's potential that they could take some off, but they're not able to take everything immediately. And some brands I have that they didn't carry, but no, I'm really pumped about this, and they have some great stuff, and yeah, man, that's the story.
Well, good for you. Listen, I'm happy that you're happy, and that you get to give back to the community here by a couple percentage points, and they get to see your face more, hopefully, or at least see your writing more on all the products, and people trust you. So that's great.
Yeah, it'll be good, and then you'll benefit from it. You're not cheap. Logan costs money.
Yeah,
Logan costs
listen,
money.
write me a check too. I'll take the 35K from Pickleball Central
Yeah,
or whatever.
don't think that this talent of Logan Brown is cheap.
This smile doesn't come cheap, man. But speaking of those guys, so I don't want to take away any of anything you're doing with Fromuth either, because those guys seem great. But an interesting thing that popped up this week that I didn't realize is they're owned by the PPA. Have you heard of this?
Fromuth is?
No, Pickleball Central.
Yeah, when Tom Dundon bought the PPA, they also bought Pickleball Central as part of it.
Yeah, and so guess I heard this number thrown out, so it's not by me, but I'm just passing on the information. Guess how much they make? This sounded like an annual revenue figure. Guess how much they make annually on the site?
Just like
you're a,
like revenue wise.
yeah. Let's just take top line revenue.
Oh man, I know they're big on Amazon. I would bet it's several hundred million.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So Thomas threw out the number of 16 million, but that was their website.
Or maybe not several hundred, but like 100 million. I bet it would have been my guess.
Okay.
16 million?
16.
I was off. I was way off.
I don't know. That's what he said, but that could have been profit. I thought he was talking about revenue. I mean, I think 16 million kind of sounded about right for a pickleball website at this point, given.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense. I was off there.
But I hope it grows to 100 million, or maybe it is. Maybe it was 16 million profit. But
yeah,
that was a wild number.
His estimate's probably closer than mine. For some reason, I thought I heard something around that number, but could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. They're not publicly traded at all, right? Like everything's private.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think we could go find that number.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, speaking of like paddles and gear, you want to get into some paddle babble?
Paddle babble. Hey man, will this thing make me a 4.0?
Yeah, let's jump into paddle babble. So I released my review of the Ronbus Nova. So this was a new type of thermoform paddle. I'm sure you noticed this too, but I've never.
I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, I've never seen a paddle get so many reviews dropped on the same day. Like Dong over at Ronbus was working the reviewer world.
Yeah,
he was sending them everywhere, and there was a ton of reviews that dropped all at the same time. And so this is kind of interesting with this one. So with all of these dropping at the same time, I felt like there was more variation in the reviews than there are with other paddles, because I honestly don't watch a ton of reviews.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you get do you get kind of, you see somebody else's review and it kind of jades your opinion, like your original opinion?
No.
Or sways it?
I do think reviewers persuade other reviewers. And so with this one, with them all going down at the same time, it was interesting to see the variation. So there's a few people, I can't remember everyone's names, but there are a few people that were calling it like, oh, this is like a real, strong power paddle. This is like an all-court paddle. But I felt like it was a little more control oriented. I think Pickleball Studio said the same thing, a little more control oriented. But it was interesting to see this like higher variation of how the paddle played with everyone dropping at the same time, which makes me think that with other paddles, there's a lot of mimicking of what other reviewers say. Like I think it's possible that they'll be influenced by watching everyone else's, and then they go and make, they go hit it, and they've kind of already decided how it plays before they hit.
Yeah.
But that was just something I noticed I thought was interesting. But my assessment of it is like, it's good out of the gate. It needs lead to be great. But once you add some lead, it's a pretty good control paddle. It's a little more on the offensive side of control paddles. So I think there's more control-oriented paddles that absorb pace better. But if you're looking for something that offers good control without kind of sacrificing all of its offensive ability, I think it's a great option. But yeah, go check out my review. It's I have it written in the video, but tons of reviews out there for that one. But then some other paddle battles. So Andre Daescu, who is an MLP signed player now, he recently switched brands. So this dude, like he's probably the top APP, or he is the top APP male player. Would you agree?
For sure. Yeah. 100%.
So he was with Selkirk for a long time. And then he went to some brand like Viking or something. I don't even know. I never even looked at the paddle.
The Shield, I think, is what it's Viking, I think is the brand, but the Shield maybe is what it's called.
Something like that. I don't know. And then he goes, so it's just this random brand that no one had never seen anywhere. And then he goes to another like random brand. So he just signed with this company called Proton. Proton had sent me an email. I went and looked at it because like I swear I heard that name. So they had sent me an email a long time ago asking if I would do a review, and I just said no. And but they popped up again. They are sponsoring Andre Daescu. And what do you? I don't know.
Now you have to do a review. I'm curious.
I don't know. They have a newer one, I think, that has raw carbon that looks decent. It's probably kind of comparable to other stuff out there, but I don't think. I don't know if there's anything special. I'll have to look into it. But it's hard to get past their logo. Did you see their logo? It looks like the Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron
brain thing he does.
But I think it was like a Proton or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Jimmy Neutron, dude. I haven't thought of him for a long time until I saw that logo.
Did how Pickleball Will and in Pickleball Studio use like a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants little like snippets in their content? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
We should just do Jimmy Neutron stuff. Like that's our thing. They have the SpongeBob. We do Jimmy Neutron.
Dude, cartoons just aren't the same as they used to be. What were your go-tos growing up?
Well, I don't know if I have the same as yours or not. I mean, nowadays I have no idea what's out because I don't watch it. But I mean, I was a big Hey Arnold person.
I did. Hey Arnold.
Doug was in my pipeline. That might have been like really early. I was not like a Rugrats person. I don't know if that. But I mean, I remember it being on, but didn't really care about it. But then like other people like my age, I think were really into the Wild Thornberries, but I never really watched that one. I liked the Skater Kids. What was that called? Remember they played all the different extreme sports, and they skateboarded and skated and played hockey.
That one's not ringing a bell.
Oh man, somebody's gonna know and put it in the comments for sure. It was a fun one. I was really into X Games and stuff when I was that age, so I was typically like outside, like building a ramp, trying to like launch myself into I don't know where. That's what I was into. What about you?
Yeah, you'll get more into cartoons as your little band grows up.
Get older. Yeah.
My oldest is 4, and Bluey's
Bluey. I saw Blippy come across my YouTube the other day. I don't know about
Blimpy.
Blippy. BLIPPIE.
I don't know that one. I just know Bluey. Yeah. Anyways,
we'll get back to the Rhombus for a second. If we don't.
This is the Proton. This was the Proton that kicked that off.
The Proton kicked this off, but I want to go back for a second because I want to get your opinion on something. I think it was I feel like Pickleball Studio, he keeps it pretty real. Like I like that he'll just be like, yeah, this is crap. Like he did that with the and maybe you did too, kind of with Engage's paddle when it came out.
Yeah.
But I believe I was watching John Q's video, and he does a really good job getting super nerdy about a paddle. But I swear this time around he changed it up and he had like his buddies test it out. Did you watch that one? Where his buddies are on court and they're like playing with it and then they talk about it. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I watched his first part. He got like really into the like nitty gritty, like
but he kind of always
microscope, like more than so this time. He's like, it was a little much for me. But
here's what I want to know.
And then he was like, this plays exactly like the Pulsar. Here's my buddy's opinion or something.
Yeah, there's the buddy's opinion though. It was what threw me off. I love seeing the gameplay. Like I like watching yours. To be honest, sometimes I'm so focused on watching you play that I don't even hear what you said.
That's probably good. That's probably good.
But yeah, but I think I don't know if you would agree with this, being that one of your main content streams is reviews. But I really wish that they would disclose the terms of the review, because the friends are just like, oh yeah, this is a great paddle. I can really feel the pop and the drive. And oh man, I hit so much spin on this ball. And I'm just like, are you feeding me a bunch of crap right now? Or like, is this really how you feel? And I can't tell. Like, did Ronbus pay him $5,000 to do this? Is he just trying to make it look good because he's going to get some back end sales revenue? It's hard for me to tell what's legit.
I don't know. I didn't watch that part, but I don't know how other reviewers do it. So I don't take money to do the review. Brands will typically like pitch their paddle to me, and I'll just say yes or no, or send it to me and I'll throw it in my database or something. And but if I decide that I want to review it, I'll say like, I'm going to share my honest opinion. I'm gonna play with it for 2 weeks and I'm just going to kind of give my take on it.
Okay.
And then if I like the paddle, then I'm gonna I'll typically set up an affiliate relationship with them so that I'll get a discount code and make money off of it that way.
Yep.
So, but I don't know. Maybe some people take money for just doing the review. It's possible. I don't like that because I want it to be my honest opinion. But even like with the Nova, like I have a code and stuff set up with Ronbus. But this isn't like my livelihood. Like I have other revenue streams, and so I'm not trying to make money off these. Like it's for fun, and I'm just trying to inform the market, and then whatever money it comes in, great, I'll use it to just try to support the channel and feed the kids or whatever. Take them, take them to Smith's instead of Walmart.
What is that, Smith's?
Yeah,
Never heard of this.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They got better veggies.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, Utah stuff, Idaho stuff.
It could be an Idaho thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
but no, dude, that's how I approach it. I'm sure everyone does it a little bit different. I'd be surprised if he got paid, but maybe they just really liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, I want more comparisons. That's how I understand content. I just it's how I process the data, and I just wish that it'd be more like, yeah, if you like this paddle, you'd like this paddle. To be honest, it's not better than this one, or it's okay. I always want that ranking system. I kind of need to know where it lands, but teach their own.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough thing to do. I get, man, at the end of each my review, I'll have like a recommendation where I try to say like, this paddle fits this type of player or person. Some reviewers, it kind of bugs me when this happens. Some reviewers be like, this paddle isn't for me. It's like, I don't like it. But like, just because it doesn't fit your game doesn't mean it's not right for somebody else's. Like, you can't look at it through the lens of, is this paddle for me or not? You have to look at it from like, who is this good for? If it works out for me, cool. If not, who would it be good for? Who would it be bad for? But I don't know, like sharing it with friends, it's always fun to hear different opinions. But like John Q probably has a lot more experience with paddles than his buddies do. And so like I would trust his opinion over theirs. Like if you've only played 2 or 3 paddles and then you try the Nova, maybe it feels amazing compared to those. But when you've hit all the paddles, could be a different story.
Totally. Tell us the guarantee that Proton had on their website.
Oh, dude, this was hilarious. So I was just looking at Proton's website right after the Andre thing, and they have this line in the description of every single one of their paddles. It says, 100% it will be your favorite paddle guarantee. So like, not only is this claim just hilarious, but like they put 100% and guarantee like to double validify. Like it's the same thing. Why are you reiterating that? But I just thought that was hilarious. Like 100% guarantee favorite paddle. Don't look anywhere else. This is it.
This is it. Hey, listen.
So I think we can stop looking. Like we found it. I don't even know why we talk about paddles
anymore. I guess we can stop looking. We just haven't played. We gotta play it next.
We don't have to play it. Like, did you see that line?
It's gonna be
100%, not 99, 100%. There is nobody that will pick up this paddle, and it will not be their favorite. Yes, I thought that was hilarious. But a couple
about
other things.
Colin Chick and Legends. You see?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So I noticed that Colin's paddle, Colin Chick's, at TOC, he was playing with this.
Mm-hmm.
So half the paddle he's playing with the Power Air, half the paddle had the Selkirk regular branding, and then on the other side I couldn't tell what it was, but I could tell it was different. And then like a day or two later, Selkirk announced like this collaboration with Legends. Legends is just like an apparel brand, right?
Yeah, I mean they're based out of LA, and I think isn't Selkirk also like California, or maybe I'm wrong.
No, they're in Idaho. They're in Hayden, Idaho. It's like by Coeur d'Alene, this small place.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I'm wrong on that. But yeah, Legends is an apparel brand. They're based out of LA, as far as I know. I thought, well, you know what I thought at first when I saw it, because I saw it on TV, and I put it in our little notes, our podcast notes right away, because I've always had this idea, or just like I've been wondering when it will happen. I always thought that players might be able to put other sponsors on their paddle. They could sell space on the paddle. Like, for example, like you have Riley Newman creating this Takea paddle.
Yeah.
Maybe this would be like Bush League kind of, but like, what if you just created your own paddle? It's totally blank at the factory, and you go to 10 brands and you're like, I'm going to give you space on my paddle, and you're going to get, you can have a 10 by, you can have like a little 5-inch by 5-inch block, or you can have a 3-inch by 3-inch block or whatever.
Huh.
And you can make a decent amount of money over a specific period of time just selling placements. I thought Colin Schick had put his sponsor on the paddle. That's
rather
what I thought it
than
was.
Selkirk doing like some sort of collaboration deal.
Right.
I still think this collaboration is kind of odd, but that idea that you brought up, I don't know, that's interesting. Like I think paddle sponsors are probably some of the more lucrative sponsors for players.
Yeah.
So like, could they make more money putting, finding their own sponsors and putting it on there? I don't know. Like the paddle is a small space.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know if like, it'd be hard to tell what's on there. But
no, throw that in my bucket of crappy ideas.
That's an
bring it to the table.
Interesting thought. But no, I don't know. Like let's say Colin had done that. Like I couldn't tell what was on his paddle being there, but maybe on TV, like they do close-ups.
I just happened to I recognize the brand because this is the world I live in and work in is e-commerce.
Yeah.
So I knew that brand and like.
But like, what do you think of that? Like in general, like I thought it was kind of strange that they partner with legends of all. I don't know who they would, but like, what do you think of that in general? Like, is that like, are people going to buy that? Like, I don't wear legends. Like, does legends just have a huge following that coincides with Selkirk followers? Like, it seems like a pretty niche market.
Well, I'll give you my opinion on it since you asked, but right now what I'm seeing across the board is you kind of have like some of the main apparel sponsors as you see like Chubby's shorts. They're not even really sponsors. I think Chubby's does sponsor some people. But I used to work there and I talked to one of the founders and like Tyson was just buying his own shorts. That wasn't exactly like Chubby's sponsored him out of the gate or whatever. And then, but you see a lot of players.
Is he sponsored now by them?
I don't know 100%, but the last I heard, he was creating his own line of apparel with Skechers. So I think he's going to do like Skechers head to toe apparel because he wears like his tank tops. I think he just throws Skechers brand on it, but I think he's going to create like a line for himself is what I heard.
I thought his line with Selkirk was pretty cool. Like he had like that pattern TM, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he makes with Skechers.
Yeah, we'll see. And then it's like JW Johnson, Colin Schick. There's a group of them that are wearing Legends shorts. And so I think there's just a market right now to be like, the shirt, the pair of shorts you wear as a pickleball player. And so I could see this as a play for Legends to say, listen, not only are we solidifying some
associate Legends
with the biggest pickleball paddle brand on the market, right? It's like, they probably paid Selkirk a decent amount to do this. But if Selkirk pushes that and Selkirk has, like you were saying, all these email addresses, they're the title sponsor of a couple of different tournaments. This gives them a lot more leverage to be that brand for pickleball.
Okay, that makes more sense. This is a play for Legends to get into the pickle sphere rather than Selkirk trying to sell more paddles. So
the pickle sphere, that's pretty nice. We need to trademark that. That was good. Pickle sphere.
Was it? I don't know. But so Selkirk's taken. I didn't think of it this way. I was thinking of it the other way of like Selkirk trying to expand their reach, but this is Legends trying to get in the game, you think?
Yeah, I'm sure Legends paid them, plus they paid for all the paddles they created. Let's say the minimum was like 5,000 paddles or something. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure they had to do custom manufacturing for just those that run. Yeah,
I mean with Selkirk paddles, they just print that on there. It's not like I don't think it's crazy hard for them to do that. So I don't think it probably wasn't a huge lift, but no, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But then another thing. No, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, sorry. You were asking like, I don't wear Legends. Why do I care about Legends? I think we're just going to see more of this because I don't care about Takea water bottles either. But for some reason, Riley Newman thinks people are going to buy a Takea paddle. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's just a branding play. But
can you buy those yet? I haven't even looked.
I don't know. I mean, that's what I was saying. I mean, maybe it's just a branding play, but it's hard pressed for me to think that you're going to give up the opportunity to sell the paddle you play with because if people like you, they probably want to play with what you play with.
Right. Yeah, it's new, but okay, but yeah, that makes sense. We'll see where that shakes out. And then another thing Selkirk did. I mean, Selkirk's just trying all sorts of stuff. So they did a Holderness family line with their like introductory SLK paddle. So Holderness families, I've seen some of their YouTube videos. They're just influencers, right? Like big time influencers.
Yeah, they blew up, I think, during the pandemic. And funny enough, my boss who lives in Raleigh like knows them.
Oh, really?
Apparently I don't know their names, sorry, but the husband, the male lead and all the content, he's a musician. So I don't know if you saw the recent video he did where they created a song about pickleball, but the background music was all created by pickleball stuff. Like he would like knock on the paddle, bounce a
Oh, that
ball,
sounds kind of cool.
and he made a tune to like help promote this paddle. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I wonder how many more influencers they could pair up with, or other brands
And
could team up with to
do a
create
collab
paddles.
thing with.
Yeah.
So I just looked up the Holderness family on Instagram. Like, they have about 1 million followers. So like it's no small number. And this can't be the same thing as Legends. Like this is a play for Selkirk to get in front of more people, not the other way around.
Yeah. I would imagine this helps Selkirk just like, yeah, they probably, maybe it was some sort of mutual deal, but I imagine Selkirk actually paid them for the content.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing like, hey, because somebody told me yesterday that they were at Walmart and there's a whole bunch of Ben John's Yola, like basic paddles. Like they said it was sub $100 or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but that's what Selkirk has to go compete with at the lower level for these introductory players. Is if you're not going to find me online, now they did the Costco thing. Now you have to fight for space on a wall. And if maybe some mom recognizes the Holderness family because like, oh my gosh, they're so funny on Instagram, maybe they pick up that paddle over the Ben John's, $80 Yola.
Yeah, no, that's possible. So that was an interesting play. And Selkirk has put a lot of emphasis on influencers. Like they sponsor every YouTube person out there, it seems like. And
yeah,
so
dude,
they must have found
every
some
other
success
video
from it and try and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. But yeah, tell us, speaking of, they have so many players under their wing, but Travis Rettenmeyer recently kind of, more publicly than others, I think, was like, hey, I'm switching paddle companies. Like, what should I play with?
Yeah, this has actually been really fun following kind of his paddle journey here. So Travis Rettenmeyer, I mean, he's good. I mean, he'll win. He'll win 1-2 rounds like every tournament almost, and he'll make deeper runs occasionally. So he's a great player, too. And with different partners, yeah. So he's a player, and so he was with Selkirk for a long time. Played their 002. Contract must have ended. This was probably a couple months ago or something.
Yeah,
and since his contract ended, he's been very vocal about, or not. I don't know. I don't listen to his podcast. Maybe he brings up in his podcast, but I've seen a lot of his like stories where he's like, "Oh, I'm trying these paddles out today. I'm trying these paddles out today." So he's shopping around, trying to find his next deal. And it seems to be, I don't think Rettenmeyer needs money. He just wants a good paddle, and then we'll get whatever sponsorship is from that.
Yeah.
And so he's not finding a sponsor and then playing with their best paddle. He seems to be finding the best paddle and then is going to try to get sponsored by them. And so, I mean, he's tried a ton of them that he's posted. But this last weekend, he was playing with the new Pursuit Pro from Engage. So it's fun watching him as a truly unsponsored pro, just trying to find the best paddle for his game. And I don't know if he's going to stick with it or land with it, but I think he's played with it a couple times now. But the Engage Pursuit Pro is the one he landed on, which is interesting. I still haven't got these paddles. I talked to him like 2.5-3 weeks ago. They haven't sent them to me yet. I thought I'd have them by now, but I want to review those paddles next. But I just keep getting more hyped about these. Seeing him play with it, seeing a ton of Engage pros switch over to it. I know Deckel's playing with it. I think there's some others that are still kind of back and forth between the original Pursuits and the new line, but it seems like everyone's starting to make that shift to their new one, which no one did with the Ultra. And so this kind of speaks to it. And so we'll see what we get with it. Hopefully I get those this week. I don't know. I want to start reviewing those.
You know what I want to hear from your play test though? Take it out with some friends. Some people mentioned to me this weekend, they saw it and their first reaction was, is that going to be legal?
The paddle?
Because they have so much white on the face. They pretty much Remember, Engage was
Oh.
always kind of like this black on black. Like the logo was never in your face.
Yeah, you can
Now
never
with the
even
Pro,
see
it's
it.
white. I mean, it's white everywhere. And some people were saying like, "Oh, I saw that, but like, do you think people can play with it in MLP because there's so much
I
white?"
imagine they would. I think it's just the white like target, but like the majority of the face is black. I bet it's fine. I guess it has gold on it too, which is one of the no colors for MLP.
I don't know. Go out there and ask your friends, like as you're playing, see
Just
if
they say.
Because I played my first player this weekend with an all white icon, and to be honest, like the green ball, it does kind of get lost on the face of that paddle in the sun. Like it's just so much brightness coming at you.
For
like,
sure.
Where is that ball?
I think it was a good rule.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Let's move on to Joe's Talking Pros.
Above average Joe's talking pros. Psh. Hey man, I could have made that shot.
So all the talk this week has anything pickleball related has been overshadowed by this MLP PPA news. They're splitting up. They're just going crazy, signing new players. But I'm sure everyone listening, has heard bits and pieces of this story, may not know the full thing. Downtown Logan Brown is Mr. Content consumption around everything. So give us the lowdown of the situation, like what happened, where we are, and then let's talk about the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and also I think after I give you like the overview, ask me questions. I'm probably better at answering the questions, and that'll be fun too for the audience.
Drop those in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. So all right, so here's the overview. Last November, you remember Vibe launched. So Vibe was PPA's version of the MLP. At this point, they're two competing entities. The MLP maybe had been around for like 2 seasons at best, but they didn't have a tour. It was like 4 events, and then I think it became 6. So Vibe is announced. You got Mark Cuban behind it.
Well, even before that, so I think MLP was trying to work with PPA, but PPA was playing hardball, and they just couldn't come to an agreement, which is why PPA launched Vibe, I think, as a tactic to MLP to like cave to their negotiations, right?
If you say so. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That was the sense I got from the Vibe launch.
Because it felt like 3 weeks later they shut Vibe down and had an agreement with the MLP, but maybe it wasn't that quick. But it was definitely by December it was done.
It was pretty quick, yeah.
And so from what I understand,
meaning like the PPA MLP like had an agreement to coexist and work together, right? Like
I meant done as in Vibe was done. I meant Vibe was like,
was done.
We have Vibe, and then there's no Vibe.
Okay.
Like you could go buy a sweater online, and then you couldn't. This was but shout out to anybody who's got a Vibe sweater too. By the way, that's awesome. So then what I heard, I don't know all the details of the but one cool thing that I did hear is that 20% of MLP was given up. So shares basically were divvied up to the PPA for not starting Vibe and like kind of collaborating as this partnership. And then 2 teams were given to them. So Connor and Dundon, whatever his first name is, own 2 teams like the Utah Black Diamonds and Seattle Pioneers, maybe.
Yep.
And so they had 2 teams plus equity, and then they started working together on the schedule. So you saw this year where they go to San Clemente and they're sharing, like they don't have to do pickle roll separately. Pickle roll goes to this event venue, rolls out the courts. They got the camera crew, the tents. All right, PPA runs their event. MLP, you're up next. And they just kind of roll into all this with the shared cost, I think, which is great. But
like the big news of that was all the talent was in the same brackets, right? Like everyone was happy to see these 2 entities merge. All the talent was going to be playing each other. It seemed like a win for everybody, at least a win for the fans.
Yeah, but I personally didn't even think about it being like a one or the other. I really didn't. For a while, I just thought MLP would continue to be like a team event thing, and it would expand like with that. Like maybe it becomes 10 events a year or something. But
yeah,
in any case, I think so. We're talking about 11 months or 10 months of kind of negotiations. And Steve Kuhn went on the kitchen. If you follow them, go on YouTube. You can watch this. And
so clarify this for me then. So they had agreed to some partial deal back in November where they created this schedule together.
Yep.
but it was never like real. It was never like signed by lawyers or something.
Right. Yeah. The way that Steve Kuhn described it is that there would be like a small detail here and a small detail there. And so go back to the lawyers. Hey, what do you think about this? And then they go back
With
to
the
the other lawyers.
expectation that they would sign some sort of finalized deal later.
Yeah, exactly. And sorry if I haven't covered this, but basically on Wednesday, or maybe it was last weekend, we get the announcement that gambling is coming. PPA was announcing gambling's now
right.
available for Kansas City. You can gamble on these matches. That was a cool big deal. And funny enough, I wonder if MLP was kind of waiting on that announcement, because by Wednesday, they threw out an Instagram post and a blog post saying that they're going to offer their players in general, they're going to offer players multi-year contracts. When I first saw it, I just thought, oh, that's great. Like, these guys are going to get paid a little more than just prize money to play in the league. But then it was like, all hell broke loose. And apparently they were in like this tour war trying to sign players on either side. And I learned
So it's
pretty
like
quickly
sign
that,
them, like these are like exclusive contracts. So like if MLP signs a player, they cannot play PPA events and vice versa.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'm not
Okay.
100% on that yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so all right, so this week they're announcing basically now both parties are going after exclusive or just contractual agreements that, hey, you're an MLP player, you're a PPA player. And going back to this partnership, I don't know which straw broke the camel's back. But Steve Kuhn describes it as like, it felt like we were just going in loops with the lawyers back and forth. We couldn't come to an agreement. What I read between the lines, and he said this a little bit, but what I'm reading between the lines is that PPA wanted more events for next year. They wanted to go even further into the calendar than they were this year. And I think Steve Kuhn was extremely against making players play more because of how strenuous this travel is on the majority of players. And so I think in their initial agreements, the big asterisk and the difference between the two, are they're like, we're going to offer you exclusive time off. So you're going to play, I think the number was thrown out around like 270 days a year is like work, and then the rest is time off. I'm not sure how it's going to get spread out yet, but I do have a list of like what their schedule is supposed to be next year, or at least by 2025. And so yeah, like as of today, like I have this, I don't know, I've got a list pulled up too that we can share in the comments thread, which is neat. But yeah, MLP signed like a vast majority of players, whereas PPA kind of signed the very top talent with like Ben Johns, Anna Lee Waters, Colin Johns. So they've got that. But yeah, right now the question I think that's still up in the air is on the PPA side, I know there's exclusivity. On the MLP side, I'm not 100% yet that it's like so exclusive that you could not play a PPA tournament if you wanted to.
Interesting.
Because the whole thing that I've
signing
not
with
heard,
the MLP, potentially you make money off that contract, but can still play other stuff. So like that seems pretty attractive over a PPA exclusive deal.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this is, in my opinion, still a gray area. If anyone out there knows who Jim Kloss is, he is all over the pickleball forums. He self-proclaimed like pickleball expert. So he put a post up, kind of his rundown of this. And I made a comment on the thread that, listen, I haven't heard anywhere that MLP is exclusive. And then Dane Gringich, another pro, got involved and said, yes, it's exclusive. And then another guy got involved and said, no, I've seen the MLP contract and there's not an exclusivity clause. So then when Alex Trong got picked up by the MLP this morning, I commented on Twitter and tagged her and I said, listen, congrats, but I'm curious, can you still play APP? I got a like, I didn't get a reply.
Oh, okay.
Because
so know that.
If it's truly exclusive, Braydon, like the APP is in big trouble. They just snatched up every major, like the top 10 talent from APP is snatched up. So if it's truly exclusive, which I don't think it is, I think they're playing nice with the APP, and maybe even PPA at this point. But that'd be pretty bad for that talent pool at APP, I think.
Yeah, they were already on the downhill, so that would really crush them. That's fascinating. So that's one unanswered question. Are there any other unanswered questions?
Yeah, I think I have an answer, but I mean, who knows what's going to shake out. The guys from the Dink, I love them, but Jimmy put this thought into a couple of people's heads that I think people are running with, that we're going to have a redraft all of a sudden. Like there was some things on Twitter today, like, oh my gosh, is this the last time we're going to see Ben Johns and Tyson play? And the answer from what I've heard from Steve Kuhn, and I have not seen or heard anyone else say against this, 2023 is 2023. The players are contracted to play. There are 26 events, I think, in the PPA. They're contracted to play on their teams through the MLP. Now, if there's some sort of mutiny and buyout of contracts, maybe things get flipped upside down. But the way I heard it was that essentially 2023 goes on. We'll see everyone in Atlanta in 3 weeks. And there will be a redraft at the end of the season to kick off 2024. That's the way I've heard it.
Yeah, I mean that makes more sense logically. Like these schedules are in place this year. There's contracts in place this year. That makes sense in my head. But yeah, we'll have to see. That's an interesting one. So I mean,
to give Jimmy credit, here's what he said, and he didn't actually say one way or the other, but his opinion, which is a good one, was that he had a lawyer look into the PPA contracts, and the buyouts for your contract is $25K. So he said, would MLP just write a check and buy people out? But right now the MLP has over 30. Now, not everyone is PPA. Let's call it 25 people right now are PPA contracted players. It would be around $750,000 to buy them out of their contracts. And if I'm the MLP, I don't really see why I would throw away $750 right now. Like, is it just like a screw you to the PPA? I don't think they really wanted to do that. They just wanted to guarantee their players were playing in the events they want to do in the next 2 years, is my opinion on it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good information because I hadn't heard that before. Yeah, we'll see what happens there, and I do want to talk about some of the players that signed on which way and get your opinion on it. So the PPA has Ben Johns and Anna Lee, and then I think the third biggest sign they had was Jack Sock. While pretty much every other major player like Tyson McGuffin, Riley Newman, Anna Bright, they are all signed with MLP. But this Jack Sock one I think is in particular very interesting. So it was announced that he signed with PPA. I think the Instagram post went up yesterday or today sometime. And then shortly after, Jack announces that he's retiring from tennis. So it seems clear that he is moving to pickleball full time next year or now. I'm not sure when he's going to start, but he's moving full time to pickleball. He can move viewership numbers, I think.
Yeah.
With him being on PPA, even though there seems to be less talent, let's just assume that there are exclusivity clauses. So those who are signed with MLP cannot do PPA events. Do you think PPA has enough firepower to attract audiences with the 3 big dogs they have, and then kind of just these average players after that?
I don't know. I think that a Jack Sock and an Anna Lee and Ben Johns will bring some viewers in. The longevity of it, though, is the struggle for me because it's going to be so it's already lopsided. Like how many, I mean, maybe you know this stat, like Anna Lee was going on 6 triple crowns in a row. She's probably had 12. Ben Johns might be on like 9 triple crowns or something in the season. Like it's just absurd. And now you're taking away a lot of the talent. Catherine Parenteau is the only one that's probably going to fight for singles gold against Anna Lee. She's the only person to beat her except for Tyra. So in my opinion, it's just going to look so lopsided. I'm not sure the fans are going to love it. But yeah, the funny thing about the Jack Sock announcement is that this guy has gone and made millions of dollars playing tennis. This is not a 30-year-old that needs the money. If I were him, and I'm just speaking as Logan Brown, this random guy on YouTube, but I wouldn't sign an exclusive contract with anybody. It's like, dude, I'll agree to play 10 things with you next year, 10 events. And you can use my name and likeness, and here's the dollar amount. But I'm definitely not going to let you tell me I can't play on MLP, because he's gone on Twitter and said he loves MLP and he would love to be drafted at some point. So I don't think he's giving up MLP for this deal.
That's fascinating. Yeah. What's the draw for him to do an exclusive deal? It'd be more, he's doing this for fun. Like, he enjoys playing. He wants to be competitive. Like, why would he not want to play the best in the world and compete? Because he's a competitor. Like, that's his life. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, there doesn't seem much attraction there, but he's signed something with PPA. I don't know what the details are, but he did something with them.
I know.
But
we'll
like,
see what comes out there.
Outside of those three, like, everyone else is going to MLP. And I think one reason is that you pointed out, like, Steve Kuhn seems very aware of what the players want out of this. Like, he's giving them time off. He's giving them, I think I heard, he's giving them like 401k and health insurance and things like this, like they just never had. And PPA, I think this was on the Dink podcast, but the PPA is just like matching everything and offering more to try to retain, some players. But Steve was on the forefront. He's like, I care about the players. I'm doing this because I think it's it's going to benefit you and me. And so, whereas the PPA seems very aggressive on the schedule and just making money, kind of, And so there seems to be that draw to the MLP for the players, but there's also a lot of money up for grabs from MLP events. Like, I can't, if I'm, Riley Newman, been getting my butt whipped by Ben for so long, I can go be the top dog at MLP and make $25,000 every event if I win, And so
well, I will note about that.
There's a lot of attraction over to that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree. I agree that there's a lot of attraction there. I do think we're going to see prize money renegotiated a bit. I think because the players are now contracted with an annual type of salary, I don't think that it's going to be as lucrative as the 60 grand for a super final anymore. Steve Kuhn kind of danced around that topic this weekend, but I'm with you on Riley Newman. I think what's cool here is that they can. I think that
one surprised people. The Newman one.
Well, now we still have, as far as I know, we're still waiting on the Johnsons, JW in Georgia.
Yeah, they're not, and then Frazier, I think, is another unknown.
Yeah,
at least at the time of this recording. So we're recording this on Sunday. We'll publish it on Tuesday. It could change by Tuesday. This is very rapid right now.
I think it'll change by then. I mean, Dylan and JW were in the finals, and so everything I saw on Twitter, it sounded like this weekend was just kind of a disaster because people were up all night long trying to talk to their team, their families, figure out what was
Why
best.
Is there such a hurry? Like, I'm surprised that like everything happens so fast. Like, why do they have to decide right now? I feel like the Johnsons are holding out, like they're evaluating it. I'm sure they're talking to people trying to make the best decision, and I'm surprised not more people are doing it that way. But the Johnsons are kind of known for that. Like, they didn't sign a paddle sponsor for the longest time because they were waiting for the best opportunity and kind of filling things out. And they're doing that. It looks like they're kind of taking that same approach here, but I'm surprised more players didn't, unless they were aware of what was going on before. Like, I imagine Tyson, like, he's probably going to be the face of MLP. He probably knew about this already. So like, signing him quickly makes sense. But from what I understand, a lot of players were caught off guard. They had no idea what was going on, and they're signing so fast.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I am unsure why some players moved so quickly. Like, Ben and Annalee makes sense because they're the face of PPA. PPA has treated them well, I'm sure, over the years. And so it's like, listen, we're not going to, like, they probably just joined to like say, you're going to give us a fat contract, we'll help you attract the other players. That was the attempt, I guess. But if you're like not a middle tier, well, let's say you're still in the top 30, but you're somewhere in the ranks of like maybe number 15, number 16, my question to you, I wanted to bring up on the podcast was like, why not don't sign with anyone? Like, play the middle ground as long as you can, because you're already on a team, right? For MLP, you've already been drafted. You clearly have draft stock. Maybe you win some in PPA already. Like, maybe that's why Julian Arnold's sitting out right now, because like, if maybe let's say that they offer Julian Arnold $65K, right? Because he's a good player, but like, he's not Tyson, like as far as like the face of the league. So let's say they offer him $65K for the year. That might not be enough for him. He might just be like, well, I might be able to win 60 next year in the super final, and I'll win some PPAs here. And, I could just play both sides instead of signing
some
an
people
exclusive
did
offer.
that with the APP PPA, like Tour Wars
Gold card thing.
The gold card thing. And I don't feel like those players fared very well. Like,
but there were a limited number of gold cards, right? So like there's a time constraint on like, listen, we're only going to give 20 gold cards out.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
I don't know how many it was, but it was a small amount.
I wonder if there's some sort of time constraint with the MLP side of things, like whether there's a limited number of positions to be signed, and or they're giving bonuses if you sign within X amount of hours or something.
They definitely could have given bonuses for signing quickly. The way I heard it was that each side had a 48-hour clause on the contract. So that's what forced the speed up. But like at the same time, like if you don't sign,
you can always wait. You can always wait. But maybe those kind of mid lower tier felt that pressure.
Yeah, like, they want the money.
Like, they want the money, but like I'm impressed with like Frazier and the Johnsons of saying, no, I don't have to play by your terms. It's like getting a new job, dude. Like whenever they make an offer, you have 24 hours to sign this. It's like, no, let me go talk to my employer and we're going to negotiate.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. All right. So we've gone on this topic for a little bit, but one thing I do want to bring up that would be good for folks to know is, or I think is fun. There's this this media company called Court Drip. So check it out if you want, courtdripusa.com. Shout out to them for putting this together. I was going to do this for the podcast on my own, but they did it for me. What I was curious of is that there's a list already of like how many players and what players went to PPA and MLP. But what I was going to put in an Excel sheet is, what do the teams look like right now? And there's only like 2 teams that are fully committed. Let me find them for you. Orlando Squeeze is fully committed. That's Anna Bright, Andre Deskew, Zane, and Rachel Rohrbacher.
You're saying just fully committed, like one way or the other?
I meant fully committed to MLP. So like every other team has to find replacements, by next year. But it won't really matter because by 2024 we should be completely redrafting at that point. But it'll be interesting when we get to Atlanta though, because although there might not be a lot of strife between players, if anybody decides they're going to back out on MLP altogether, it could leave some players stranded. So, man, almost the entire Texas Ranchers is gone. I mean, not gone, but undecided. It's like Dylan Frazier, Georgia Johnson, Laura Stratman still haven't decided. On Dallas Pickleball Club, Callie Joe Smith is out. Elise Jones is out of MLP. Jay DeVilliers is out. So that leaves James Ignatowicz on the Dallas Pickleball team so far. But like ATL bouncers, that's the whole APP squad. It's like Paris, Simone, Pablo, or except for Pablo Tellez and Hunter Johnson. They're all MLP. But then like as we get into the challenger level, that's where a lot of people haven't even been offered yet. Like as far as I know, or maybe they've been offered, but they haven't said anything. Like I haven't heard a word from like Pesa Tione, Allie Phillips, Andre Mick, right, who played in the championship again today.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard. There's like CJ Klinger. There's a handful of folks here, but Dominique Schaefer actually confirmed earlier today before the podcast. So, yeah, we'll see how this shakes out.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. It's fun. We could keep talking for a long time about this because it is fun to talk about. But we'll close the.
Actually,
yeah, one more thing.
Okay,
go for it.
This is actually one of the most important things people want to know about.
Okay.
Because there's so much going on Facebook right now about like people being upset that this is going to ruin who is the champion. This is what PPA is leading with. With a PPA, you'll know who the best player in the world is. That's their tagline right now. That's what they're going for. But here's what came out of the MLP side somewhere. It's probably not on paper yet, but this is what I heard, maybe through Thomas. So 8 MLP team events, kind of what you're seeing today.
Oh, like this is what their schedule will be?
Yeah, schedule for next year, which kind of changes, I think, people's perception of what MLP. I think people are thinking MLP is just this team event thing, and they're upset they won't be able to see their favorite duos play doubles or whatever. So, so 8 MLP team events, then 2 super finals, right? We'll have 2 halves of the season again. They're going to do 4 majors that they claim will be like tennis, where it's a massive event. It's set up just like a PPA event where you pick your partner,
be a team event. You select your partner,
play singles,
style,
whatever you want to do. Yeah, 4 of those, which I think makes it way more impactful. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's just say every quarter we have a big event. Like everyone's going to be buzzing about that because they're going to watch the MLP events and say, "Oh man, what's his face is on the come up. I can't wait to see her play with him or whatever." And then something I think you and I might have talked about actually on the podcast previously, they're going to do 5 friendlies, very similar to soccer, like where the USA will play Sweden, and that's like up, towards the World Cup or whatever. So maybe like 2 teams that
head to heads.
Yeah, but like maybe like Atlanta Bouncer. Like here's what I'm envisioning though. Did you watch the YouTube video where Drew Brees put that big event together in New Orleans?
Yeah, I saw something about that.
It was a really good crowd. Like he had like more people packed into that thing than normally go to PPA. So what I could see is that you have these massive investors in MLP. We're talking Drake, LeBron James. If some of these guys get together and they want to put on an event and they say, yeah, Drake's going to perform. We got the ATL Bouncers against the Orlando Squeeze.
That's what
and it's a friendly event, but like come out, bring your friends. We'll have a hip hop event. We're going to have these food vendors, whatever.
Make it less about the pickleball and more about the event.
Yeah. More about the vibe.
Yeah. There's definitely some potential of something different there. Okay. That's cool.
All right. Anyway,
that brings some new perspective there. Okay. So last question here. Are you team PPA or team MLP?
I've always been team MLP. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I feel like they've created a cool brand for themselves since the get-go. I love the team aspect. I think watching it is way more fun. I might be a little jaded, but like right now with the PPA, I don't see them evolving. Like I don't know if I want to sit around for another 3 more years and watch Ben Johns and Anna Lee win. Again. It's not even that. It's just like every weekend is the same thing. And he wants to cram more in next year. Like it's great having pickleball on, but it's like, dude, like, okay.
Dude, I love that. That's a very cool perspective because MLP has been trying new things from the start. New scoring, new format, new schedules, just trying to figure it out, where PPA is just repetitive. So
they want a cookie cutter.
MLP is whatever the best schedule is, or whatever the best format is, like MLP is going to find it.
I think so.
I like that. I'm also team MLP. I wasn't before this. I actually was turned. So I did like the consistency and following the PPA. Like I thought it was fun, and MLPs were exciting, but it was just, I don't know, it was just hard to like pick a team to follow. But it was fun to watch a random thing here and there. But if MLP does win, and it's just only MLP, it'll be easier to associate yourself with the team. They'll start building around players, and it'll be easier to follow. And I do like that Steve Kuhn seems to be more interested in the well-being of the players and the league. And I like that, right? Like I just gave him $35,000 so people can have an extra 2% on their buying a paddle. He seems to be less, everyone's intrinsically motivated by the money, right? Like that's the end goal, but he seems to be approaching it in a way where like he wants to benefit everyone. It's not just about him. And I like that. And I do like, and I really like your point about the innovation. Like that's really cool. Like they're going to find it. I mean,
these 4 majors are going to be a lot of fun. Like I really think that if people want to know who the best player is, we're going to find out because we're going to be following these teams. And then all of a sudden there's a major coming up and we're like, oh my gosh, who's going to partner with who? Like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then, and these friendlies. Did you ever watch the, what is it, Tuesday Night in America, Pickleball in America?
Yeah.
I think these friendlies will be some
Something
sort of
like
fun
that.
event like that, where they might be throwing rubber chickens on the court to do like just stuff like that is what the MLP I think can do, and the PPA won't because it's so it's so like dry.
Yeah. All right. Tell us in the comments. Are you team PPA, team MLP? It'll be fun to hear what everyone says. I think we convinced everyone MLP just now.
I think we did. All right. Ask us questions. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah, Logan knows everything. Okay, let's go to our last segment. We have a couple of questions still for our in and out segment. So tell us what those are.
In or out? Sorry, I think that was just out. Did you see that out?
All right, I'm gonna leave MLP to the end. We just beat that to death, but it is kind of fun. So let's start with 2 weeks ago. Garnett and Stackstrud were playing in a singles match, and Stackstrud's out of timeouts. Okay, so he can't do a challenge, and there's a ball that is so close. You know how bad these cameras are. There's a ball that's super close on the back line, and that's Garnett's winning shot. Stackstrud couldn't call a timeout. My question to you is, are you in or out on the idea of an automatic replay system if there's a close call on the last winning point of a match?
I am in on that for now. Future, they just need machines that call balls in or out. This should not even be a question, which will happen eventually. But for now, I'm in. Like this, there's money on the line. There's a lot of things on the line. Like this, there's betting. If that's in, that could change a lot of things. They need to get it right. So I'm for it. What about you?
I'm for it. I mean, I like it in other sports. Like, in football, they do a similar thing like this where the refs, I mean, a lot of sports, the refs can call the fact that they want to review it. And I think we should have a similar thing here. If the ref thinks it's super close, go review it and do the best you can. But eagle eye would be great. Yeah. Machines doing it's beautiful.
I don't know why. I don't know what the cost is for eagle eye.
I think it's expensive.
If it's not set up for pickleball or something, but it's got to happen eventually.
I think eagle eye would
just do it like Beer City. Like Beer City had line calls. Like their video was great. Just the video on the line, like they were clear. They could zoom in. It wasn't grainy. They could slow it down. Like just the quality of the video seemed better. And
I wonder if those better cameras.
You don't need eagle eye to get better line calls. You just need whatever Beer City was doing.
Yeah, higher frames per second or whatever on their cameras. All right,
so we're both in.
Last one on the docket here. Jimmy Miller speculated a rule change a few weeks ago for the MLP, and I don't know how many people know about this one, but there's a freeze rule. So if the team gets to 20, they're frozen until they're serving again. So in MLP, you win rally scoring. So it doesn't matter if you're serving or not. Every point is a point for the team that won it. But in MLP also, if you get to 20, which is you're supposed to get to 21, win by 2. If you get to 20, you're frozen unless you're serving. And then you go back to almost like PPA rules. But the other team can keep winning points, right? So,
right.
What are your thoughts if they get rid of it?
So the question is, do we get rid of the freeze or not?
Yeah, get rid of the freeze.
I think I like the freeze because if you don't do the freeze, essentially all you have to do is win 1 or 2 points on your serve and then just ride it out to the end and you win. Because and so I think that doesn't seem like a great way to determine who the best team is. And so if you have the freeze, at least if the better team or whatever, maybe they had a couple points they gave up from some early mistakes, they have a chance to come back. And I think the freeze benefits the better team, and the better team will win, rather than if we just do straight rally, there's going to be a lot of upsets and random teams winning that shouldn't win as much as maybe they will.
It's a good take. Multiple players have gone on like, random interviews or on Instagram and have discussed it. They feel that the freeze definitely benefits the comeback, right? So if you like seeing a team kind of climb back in, they think it's actually better for TV that way. It creates some more excitement, but they also said that it's pretty stressful on them because if it was just straight rally scoring and they're up by 6, 20 to 20 or 20 to 16 or something, or 20 to 14, it wouldn't be that difficult for them to score one more point at some point. But now they're frozen, so if the other team wants to go on a little bit of a run offensively.
Sure. But the trailing team does freeze earlier, right? So the first team freezes at 20 and you need 21 to win. But let's say you get to 20 and the trailing team's at 15. They keep rally score up until 18 and then they freeze. So they still have to win 3 points on their serve, which is difficult to the 1. So I don't. Yeah, sure. It makes games closer with the freeze and benefits the comeback, but I don't think it's like a disadvantage, that much of a disadvantage to have to score on your last one. Like,
I'd like them to keep it. I mean, as a
it's not that big of a
fan,
deal.
I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun as a fan.
But that's funny that they would say that they feel like, oh, it's. But then what if they're down? What if they want to make the comeback? Then they'll probably change their mind.
I bet. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
I like the freeze, so I'm out on that one.
Yep, out as well. All right, let's.
Well, that ends it. That ends it for us, I think.
We'll wrap it up there. It's a cool, hour and 12 minutes. We've been jamming.
Yeah, this will be a fun one to go back and listen to. I can't remember everything we said, but I feel like we were really into that MLP part.
Man, I've been grinding for the last 3 days on that.
Well, cool. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We appreciate you. Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Lots to discuss here. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah, baby.